This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
Welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 7 a.m. Wednesday, July 15th, right here on Jocks. Glad you're with us. A lot to get into. As you know, SEC Media Days will be next week. We have the list of attendees that we're going to get to, but ACC Media Days begins today. We'll talk some Florida State with Matt LaSarre coming up in 30 minutes. Taylor Tannenbaum will be hosting on the ACC Network all week. She'll join us at 8 a.m. To preview that, we've got Bill Embody to join us as well to talk some ACC at 9 o'clock today. So a lot to get into as it pertains to that league, maybe who we like, who we're concerned about, teams that could potentially stretch, surprise, players that are moving in, that moved out. A lot to get to as Media Days will begin there. But SEC Media Days attendees announced yesterday, Greg. Not a very difficult trivia question here, but the position that will be best represented?
Kicker.
There will be one.
Ooh.
Of which I feel like we all deserve an explanation.
It's your school.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't yell at us.
We're not the ones that did it. I don't really know. My whole thing is like, listen, it's you can tell me cool story, you can tell me veteran, leader of the team. It's all great. What are you talking about? You know, like I know. It's a different deal. They're over to the
with
side.
The boys in the locker room.
Yeah, the snappers, the holders, and the other kickers and punters.
If you hate them, just tell us.
I don't even remember seeing them regularly in the locker room, like in the regular portions of hanging out in the locker room.
Yeah,
I don't even recall it. Matter of fact, they could have just waited till we were all dressing out on the field and then gotten dressed and come out. And we'd have never known.
It's amazing how that works.
Wouldn't have had an idea.
I think it's going to be great to hear from him because I do think he's going to give me a good understanding of what it's been like in the transition from what they did offensively last year to what they're going to do offensively this year. Or what it's like to, I don't know, go through the offseason program and the level of physicality in practice and how it's changed from the last staff to this staff. Or, acknowledging how the defense, while still under DJ Durkin, how different is it from last year to this year? Is he calling it differently? Because we've seen DJ Durkin run a lot of different things based on what his head coach wanted to run.
Yep.
Guy ran 3 safeties at Ole Miss.
Well, this head coach has said that they've had those conversations about how they might need to change, 1, the offense, tempo, pace, style, and 2, defense based on who they're going to be going up against. And they're going to be going up against a lot of teams that go fast, a lot of teams that can spread it out, which I think will affect the offense more than the defense. I don't think Alex Golesh will go down the hall and say, hey, you need to call it this way because of this.
Do this.
I do think it'll be more, hey, we're going to try to slow it down for you this week. Or we're going to let off the gas a couple times a game where maybe we normally would not have.
Yeah.
Because we know what you're up against. And then try to sort of maintain it that way. I do think that's real.
I think that's awesome. I think that's possible. I think that's great. And I can't wait to get the kicker's take on it. I think he's going to be able to really tell me what it's like.
Okay, 9 quarterbacks will be there. What position do you think has the most?
Why are you getting off this?
There's not, like I said, there's nothing to talk about.
It's your school.
No.
History is on Auburn's side.
It is your school.
Last time they brought a kicker, they made the SEC championship game.
Who was it, West Byram?
Legatron?
Carlson. 2017.
Which one? Don't act like there's only one Carlson.
2017.
Well said.
It's like the Colquitts of Auburn.
Agnes Carlson.
Agnes might bring more to the table than
Erling.
Others.
Position up next with most attendees at SEC Media Days will be.
It's your school.
Nothing to
It's your
discuss.
school. And you're allowing it. You have a direct line to Alex Golesh, and we have a kicker going to represent Auburn.
He will be asked next week. He will be asked next week about it. We'll discuss it.
Yeah, we will. I'm asking the question. Cole wants to know.
Inquiring minds want to know.
No, Cole.
How could you do this to us? Maybe he is in line to become a stand-up comedian one day,
uphold.
and he's going to be the most entertaining guy there. Who knows? How would we know? How would anyone know?
You have a reputation to uphold.
And I'm working on it.
Well,
I'm trying.
You're on the list now for that. This one's on you.
The position with the second most attendees at SEC Media Days will be?
Wide receiver.
I was actually surprised by this. That is not accurate.
Really?
No.
Huh.
Wide receiver 5, not even second or third.
Okay. Expound.
Linebacker with 7, running back with 6, defensive back with 6, which is almost a little bit unfair because it's multiple positions. 4 defensive linemen, 2 tight ends. That is the position breakdown of SEC Media Days. Surprised that there were so many linebackers that are going to be there. Not necessarily because of the guys, not that, but just because we don't talk a ton of linebackers anymore. Think about it. Compared to what we did. Your era, my era, is a big position.
It's the hardest position. I mean, right now it's literally the hardest position. And that's a difficult thing to have to deal with. So when you really look at it, I mean, all things considered, as a linebacker right now, with a lot of the college offense you see week in, week out, you literally can't be right.
It's fair.
Like, you're wrong every single play. So it's a little bit demoralizing. I think we watch these guys now and realize, man, you know what? Their impact isn't felt quite as much because offenses are basing what they do offensively off of what they do defensively and how those guys step or how they align and things like that. So I think it's a really tricky spot, a really tricky position to play right now. I mean, Derek Mason and I had this conversation a while back. Like, it's the hardest position in football at the moment. And honestly, the guys that impact the game more nowadays are safeties, like impact safeties and or edge rushers plus lockdown corners. Like, it's not that they've become an overshadowed position, just other positions on defense have become more important. And that's why I think we spend a lot of our time on it.
It's intriguing. And I also feel like, again, this is not to take away from – I just thought of this when we were referencing this position. I'm not taking away from any guys personally. It's not what I'm trying to say. But has there been a shift in leadership away from that position also? And the only reason I say that is when I played, when you played, it almost felt like it was a given that the next guy up at that position, you were required to be that guy. You were going to be the leader of the defense.
Yeah.
And one of the few leaders of the team. And think about the SEC the last few years. Now, there are definitely some. There are absolutely some. Not saying that there are not linebackers that are the guy on the team, the alpha on the team, the one who leads the team, the one who leads that side of the football. Obviously, there are plenty of guys around all college football that still do that. I think Anthony Hill Jr. absolutely was one of those guys at Texas. Jet Johnson at Mississippi State a couple of years ago. He and Bookie Watson were probably 2 of the leaders on that football team. There's been do I think Eugene Asante, who by the way is not attending, do I think he's one of the leaders of the Auburn football team? Yeah, absolutely. But it felt like it used to be a given that was going to be it. Is Whit Weeks one of the leaders of the LSU football team? Of course, 100%. But I feel like if we went down every team in the league and said who we think the leaders are, the guys that everybody follows, the ones who can keep everybody in check, like, let's just call it how it is, and it's no individual's fault. Like, does Alabama have that guy right now at linebacker?
No, because they're all young.
No.
I also think too, like, no huddle offenses. Thanks a lot, Gus Malzahn.
Definitely all his fault.
It's definitely all his fault.
Chip Kelly had nothing to do with it.
Nope, not Chip. Not Chip at all. Not Mike Leach.
Definitely not Hal Mummy.
Not Hal. Just Gus. All joking aside, like, on defense, you don't huddle. Ever. Like, when do you huddle? Like, back in the day, the linebacker would call the defense from the huddle. So they automatically were grandfathered in, whether they liked it or not, kind of like what you said, whether they liked it or not, whether their personality aligned with that or not. They were grandfathered into being a communication vessel from the coaching staff to the players. Like, they were the intermediary. But once you started to incorporate no-huddle offense, it became more about signals and aligning and adjusting faster. And, yeah, the linebacker might set the front every once in a while, but honestly, not that much. Like the D-line coaches would look over, linebackers would look over, DBs look over, and they all had their own signal. Like I think that's when it changed. That's when the personalities of those guys changed. Not that they don't still have an impact. They might in some cases be the most impactful leader on the team. But it changed when no-huddle offenses became in vogue because those guys are no longer forced to be the middleman from coach to players.
God, that's a great point. Not just a vessel of communication, organizer, like rally point. Like you had to get everybody to your spot, then get everybody to pay attention to you. Then you had to be almost a blind communicator, get the signal, and then you had to give that communication to everybody else. Yeah. And then once you got aligned, there was motion movement. You had to communicate that. You had to help organize that. You had to get it to the back end, to the front end. You had to get it out wide. And I had never thought about it the way that you just said it, but it's an amazing point in that it was forced for a long time, and now it's been stripped from that position. And that's probably why we don't look at it and just talk about the Takeo Spikes, the Rolando McClains, the Roquan Smiths as just, hey, no questions about it, hands down. That's the outfield of the defense. He's the one that runs the show. Everybody looks up to him. He is that guy. And even if you came into school and weren't that guy, but played that position, you were going to have to turn into it. Or else you probably wouldn't play, no matter how good you were.
You didn't have a choice. You know what it's adjusted to now? Because every guy has their own or every position group has their own signaler. You have leaders within the position group.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, who's your guy? Oh, well, along the D line, here's our guy, Tim Keenan. Oh, who's your guy at linebacker? Deontay Lawson. Oh, who's your guy in the back end? Bray Hubbard.
He runs the show back there.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you have an individual guy at all three levels as opposed to one guy you still had those individual guys at all three levels back in the day, but those three guys at all three levels answered to one guy, and that is often the middle linebacker. So it's just changed a little bit, the dynamic of leadership on defense. And honestly, it's not like it's changed. I mean, it's changed a little bit on offense too, like that. Like the offensive line has an alpha dog, and the quarterback is often your alpha dog. Like you have two guys that are your alpha dogs on offense, as opposed to back in the day where it was like quarterback 1, offensive line 2, and now I'd say it's like 1A, 1B as far as the leadership along the offensive side too.
Yeah, I feel like there are more. I feel like I hear more about more tight ends who are in a large portion of that role than maybe when you and I played. And I think it's just because they're more involved. They're there in protection a little bit more often. They're out wide a little bit more often. So sometimes they're with the receivers. They're moving that guy a lot more. So he and the quarterback have to be on the same page of, hey, when I give you this, I need you to flip. When we do this, watch out for this route. RPO game, whatever it is. They're helping the tackles in the run game. Think about how much they're inserting and sliding across. So they're doing a lot more in the box than they used to do, like different things in the box than they used to do.
Why also, though? Like, I understand all that. I understand their involvement and how it's been highlighted. Why are tight ends, do you think, oftentimes well-respected guys in the locker room? Not that dissimilar to back in the day when they had this really crazy position. Hear me out, fullbacks. Why do you think those guys are well-respected?
Well, also, too, think about this. How many tight ends do we hear about each and every year that are former what? Nowadays. Nowadays.
Tackles?
Quarterbacks.
Yeah, a lot of them. But
I mean, like, all their Eli Stowers, Dalton Kincaid, Priest Corn, like, it's amazing every year how old, kid played quarterback in high school.
Yeah.
Well, he's a former quarterback in high school. And so I think they have that a little bit of wherewithal of all of it, how it works, that you need to have those. You have to communicate when you play quarterback. So if you're a quarterback all through high school, you get to college, you play tight end.
Yeah,
you're gonna probably still keep talking to people because that's what you've done.
But also, you have a pretty decent segment of the tight end population that are literally insane. Seriously, you think George Kittle's stable?
Those kind, yeah. But then you have you have your flex guys that might as well be Damians out there.
Yeah, you have your flex guys or whatever, but I don't know this for sure. But I don't know if at Vanderbilt, like you had a couple of tough guys for sure, no doubt. But like were they looking at Eli Stowers when things started getting sideways? No, they're probably looking at Diego, but Diego was a different animal in his own right.
If you listen closely and to have conversations, who did Diego turn to when things went wrong for him?
Yeah, probably Stowers.
It was Eli Stowers. He's admitted, he's like, Eli was the guy that kept me in check.
Yeah.
Probably the only one that could come to me and be like, hey, dude, don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like he was kind of his FU
get
coach
back guy.
to an extent. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think tight ends, though, because they're a physical presence, I can speak to what our tight end situation was like. One guy was named Colin Peak. The other guy was Preston Dial. And, he didn't mess with Dial. He just didn't. He was just a big dude. He was a little crazy. And for those listening to the show that know Preston, you'll be like, little. You'll say. But he was a tone setter on the team. So he didn't mess with them.
Both really good players, too.
Yeah, Colin was a little different. Colin was from Jacksonville, good dude, but a little different Florida guy, not necessarily the same type of tone setter. Didn't speak a lot in the locker room, from a leadership standpoint. Dial didn't either, but if we needed the score settled, Dial's going. You know what I mean? All right, Dial, go. So I think that position in general is notoriously tough most of the time. And I think that's part of the reason why they'll probably be, I'm not saying necessarily the go-to alpha dog leader, but certainly in the upper tier of guys that can have an impact in the locker room on how the guys perform. That's a very, I think, influential position.
I love this conversation just because we've never had it before, and I haven't thought of it this way, and it's so intriguing to think about where it's changed, how it's changed. The green dot, obviously having the in-helmet communication, how that has changed things. We talk a lot of times how it's made it easier on quarterbacks and maybe help coordinators, but maybe it's forced leadership to be a little bit more spread out on some of these teams, and then how the positions of leadership has changed on certain football teams. We'll continue the conversation. Your calls, 205-834-9450. We'll tell you who these players are that will be attending SEC Media Days for each team and kind of our expectations for them this upcoming season, what they mean to their teams. We also know what Polar Bear Services means, Greg, to everybody in Birmingham.
Yeah, Wes and the guys have been coming to help me out at the house for a very long time. I'm always so grateful to the experience I have when I call Polar Bear Services. The best part is I just have to make one phone call and they can fix anything in the house. That's a tremendous luxury to have on your side. They've helped me with electrical. They've helped me with plumbing. They've also helped me with my HVAC system. So if you have a problem with any of those things, call Wes and the guys. And remember, if you have a problem with your electrical, plumbing, heater, air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. It's 497-BEAR.
All right, we'll continue talking SEC Media Days, attendees, and then leadership by position, because I think there are some parts of that we haven't really touched yet that could be a pretty cool conversation. We'll do it next on Jocks.
Don't leave Jocks back at the house. Download the Jocks 94.5 app and take us anywhere, in the car, at work, or at the game. Live audio, video, and podcasts on your schedule. The Jocks 94.5 app, wherever you may be.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. I want to follow up on that leadership conversation by position in college football that we just had on the show. Fantastic stuff that I don't think we have either really thought about how and why it's changed the way that it has and where it is today. But just where football has gone, one of the things that has happened because of that is the leadership has been spread out in different ways amongst different positions and sort of changed who has taken a little bit of that role. Wednesday, July 15th, 7:21, right here on Jocks. Don't forget, you can always listen online, jocksfm.com. The app is in your app store, iPhone, Android. You can download that for free. Watch live on YouTube every day. Search Jocks945. The app will take you to the YouTube page, give you the interviews, full segments of the show as well. And if you're rolling around your home, don't forget to listen. Just tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jock skill. G-Mac, tell our listeners about Bill Smith.
Well, Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champion of GMC. They've done a great job of providing the wonderful people of Alabama with unbelievable deals like a GMC Sierra 2500 four-wheel drive, the Denali Ultimate Trim, which is the nicest trim on the road. You can get it $11,000 off the sticker, from $99 down to $88. It's deals like that that keep people coming back. There's a reason why 75% of their business is repeat customers. That's because you have a better experience and get a better deal at Bill Smith Buick GMCs. Take the short drive to Coleman, I-65, exit 310, Highway 31. Go see Andy Cole. He'll take great care of you. Tell him we sent you here at Jocks as well. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
When you brought up coaches referencing by position group and how that is now talked about, it kind of made me think too, when referencing the leadership on offense and how it used to just be quarterback and then it would be quarterback offensive line, usually quarterback center kind of working together. I also feel like I've heard more of, and you may have to think for a second about this, but I've heard more of, hey, center handles everything up there. He runs the show there. Quarterback kind of does his thing as well at the same time, as opposed to, and it's not that they don't, and it's not that they're never working together, but it used to be a lot of those two work really well together. Those two know how to make things happen. Like center can look to him. He can go ask his center. Like, I know that's what Ben Leard and I did. I mean, he asked me hey, do we keep this on? I'm like, keep it on and go, or we need to get out of this. Now it feels a lot more like center comes up. He does his thing. Quarterback in gun, 85% of the time? He does his thing, and then the offense kind of goes. So it feels like that portion of the leadership has become a little bit different on offense as well.
Yeah, I also think, too, like offensively speaking, like William Vallejos, my center, one of my best friends. You know what I mean? Like that, just your quarterback and your center are often very close. Like they just you have to be two peas in a pod. Personality-wise, you have to get along. You spend a lot of time together. You solve a lot of problems together. That's the biggest thing I think that people don't realize about quarterback-center relationship. I mean, even in the NFL, Nick Mangold is one of my best buddies in the NFL. It was just even as a backup quarterback. Why? Because he'd sit in every third down meeting room with us.
Yeah.
He'd sit down in every pressure meeting with us, and we would solve the world's problems. And not necessarily the world's problems outside of the football field, but hey, how are we going to pick this up? Hey, how are we going to sort this out? Hey, what do we need to be thinking about here? Hey, can we run that to this? And yes, sometimes the coaches are in there, but not often. Oftentimes It's just you and him exploring options. And it's pretty fun, honestly. Like you end up coming up with things and then you go and approach your position coach, say, hey, what do you think of this? And he's like, I didn't think of that. That's great. Let's put that in. You know, stuff like that. You just come up with things. And you just have to make sure you're on the same page. And the reason why the quarterback has to do it with the center is his livelihood literally depends on it. Quarterbacks. If you're not on the same page with your O-line, you're not on the same page with your center, you are toast. You get hurt. Your career ends potentially. So, like, you better be close. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people understand is how close you need to be and how much on the same page you need to be.
Yeah, it's cool how it's been forced to move a little bit. And that adaptation, I think there are probably a lot of coaches on staffs that don't even realize it. They just it's almost been forced on them to the point where, well, this is just what it is. We got to make it go this way, and we'll make it happen. But that leadership doesn't seem to be as dominated on teams as much as it was before, where it was just inside linebacker, quarterback, everybody else kind of does their part. You figure it out. And maybe, Greg, that's why when we talk about continuity, we talk about execution, situational awareness, understanding, all those things that come from leadership as these seasons progress. Maybe that's why it's more important now. One of the reasons, because it's harder to find. And you're not naturally just moving into those spots like you used to. Now you got a guy coming in from another school. Is it going to work? Which it's been stripped away anyway. And now you got a guy that played 3 years somewhere else, and he's supposed to come in and just be that guy at that position when there's been another guy sitting there waiting for it for 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
It complicates things from a overall team leadership perspective.
I think it's pretty interesting. I mean, I think it's definitely something that's complicated because of the movement, time, and the built up equity as you're working out, even as like a redshirt player, like guys that when you almost become better friends before you play. You know what I'm saying? You ever notice that?
Usually.
Like you're
unless you're Julio Jones, Rolando McClain, like most guys, you're there for a minute before you actually become that guy.
Well, you also you kind of lean on each other. Like you're kind of the shoulder to cry on. Like I'm not playing. Neither am I. Let's hang out. You know what I mean? Like I really wish I was playing. Me too. Cool. Let's go get a beer or whatever.
In our day when you redshirted, road games, what were you doing on Friday nights? Like, there was 20-something of you that didn't go, or 15 that didn't go. You probably did because you were quarterback. Our quarterbacks went, but we had a group of guys that kind of had to hang out, and thankfully, this didn't happen while I played. After I left, they started working out on Saturday mornings for home games and road games, which would have been completely miserable, the guys who didn't travel. We didn't do that when I played, but you're almost forced to hang out. You're in a new place, new people, doing new things, and all of a sudden – 80% of the guys that you've been hanging out with 90% of the time leave for 2 days. You're hanging out with those guys again. So
Yeah.
it's by default to a certain extent. What's the leadership going to look like at Florida State this year? Matt LaSarre covers the Seminoles for warchant.com. He'll join us next on Jocks.
Keys? Check. Seatbelt? Check. Jocks 94.5 on your preset? Locked in. Your ride's not ready till Jocks is on. Jocks 94.5, your daily drive done right. Turn it on, lock it in.
Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We'll get a light preview of ACC Media Days here in just a moment with Matt LaSarre. Also talk Florida State Seminoles, a team that I think is a little more intriguing. A lot of people look at this going in just saying, yeah, probably not going to be great, but I think with some of the bodies that they've added, if Mike Norvell can find a way to get a few of those going where we've seen them be pretty good or great, they got a chance to surprise some people. But I want to start with a coach that has been added to the staff, as Matt LaSarre from warchant.com joined us on the Higginbotham hotline. Tom Herman, now a member of this staff. Matt, give us the sort of between the lines of the how and why this took place and what he's going to be actually doing for that Seminole football team this fall.
Yeah, it kind of felt like it came out of nowhere, didn't it? It did a little bit for us. We had heard they were talking a while ago, but then it kind of went away for a while. But yeah, it's very interesting because from what we're hearing, he's actually going to be more on the defensive side on the ball, or working on the defensive side of the ball, which is weird since obviously his whole career he's done offense. But it's more of like the best way to look at it, the way like I've kind of broken it down, is think of him being devil's advocate in that room for Tony White, the defensive coordinator, and some of the other defensive staffers of, we're going to do this. And he goes, well, what if I did this and attacked it this way? And that's just kind of keep going back and forth and give him a worst case scenario type of thing.
So how would you assess this offseason? Because it feels like they've been kind of quiet, but I like some of the additions, like Trey Wisner. I like Ashton Daniels. Like, there's some things to really like about it. They got good wide receivers. Like, it feels like there's some things to really like about what they have, and yet no one's really talking about them, but I think they're dangerous.
Yeah, I think the reason no one's really talking about him is just that, everything of the state of the program with Mike Norvell being in limbo and all that. But yeah, I agree with you. When you go position group by position group, for the most part, you kind of like what you see. Like, wide receiver room has a lot of talent there. Obviously, you got Deuce Robinson as someone who's probably going to be an all-conference guy and the leader of the team. And then after that, you have Danzy, who's a track speed guy, and then Javon Boggs, who you look to step up. And there's some freshmen in there, Jason Lopez and Devin Carter, who could step up as well. But the only question I have there is the offensive line, because you don't really know what you're getting there yet. But outside, yeah, the running backs, Trey Wisner is a great addition. And Cam Martin, the new running backs coach, obviously he hasn't been in the Power 5 game as much as a coach, but everywhere he's been, he's had an 1,000-yard rusher, and Trey Wisner's done that before. And then you have Usman Kroma, who's a guy who was ultra-talented coming out of high school, didn't get as many carries last year as you would expect, but he is that guy that they value a lot, and you expect to be more of a two-man running back rotation this year, and probably pretty lethal if the offensive line's okay.
David Chapman's a top 5 tackle in the portal. Matt, what are you talking about? We don't know what we're getting on the offensive line. That's having some fun. Having some fun on the show. Like you would need to be. There's some history there that we're not even going to put on you, so don't worry about it. It's okay. What do you expect the role for Ashton Daniels to be at quarterback for this team this year? I expect you to go a little bit more detailed than just play quarterback, obviously, but we've seen this offense ask different things of quarterbacks at different points in time. What do they need him to be or want him to be this year?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, like, he doesn't need to do anything too crazy, right? Like, as we just went through, there's a ton of offensive weapons. You have a guy like Deuce Robinson who's huge that you could really just throw a jump ball to whenever you need. But he's really going to have to use his legs as well, right? We've seen Norvell in the past does better with mobile quarterbacks, right? Everyone, you look to Jordan Travis as the prime example there. And his skill set isn't far off from Jordan Travis, the guy who can use his legs when he needs to, right? So I think in general, if he is able to improvise when needed, it'll be perfect. And he can just, again, we talked about that talent. Just rely on the talent that you have everywhere else, and he'll be okay, right? You don't need to go out there and be Tom Brady or an amazing quarterback. All you need to do is get the ball to your guys and let them do all the work.
So when you look at Mike Norvell stepping back in as the play caller, what exactly does that mean to you? Does that improve your confidence? Because I think Gus Malzahn's a good play caller. I just think that last year was a weird year.
Yeah.
So does that make you more confident, or does that make you a little concerned that there feels like a little desperation?
So obviously, like, on the hot seat, you don't know the situation. I kind of like it to where it's like, if he's going to go down, he's going to go down with the ship, right? And it's on his terms, which I do really like. It was a weird dynamic, as you said last year, where, on the sideline, you'd see the offensive huddle and Norvell's just kind of outside and doesn't look like he has much input, right? And I think that was weird for him. I don't think he really truly liked that role or didn't really know what to do in that role. So now being able to be more in charge and be more in depth in that, and even just kind of like seeing him around as a person, right? You can see the difference of he seems more comfortable and like happier doing all this stuff. So in general, I think it's just seeing his mindset change back to that will be good for him, because in the past, he's even said it, like, he's been good at it. I agree. Gus Malzahn's a good play caller, and at the time you needed that. But I think at this point the program needs Mike Norvell to kind of keep it over and take it over.
Matt LaSarre of WarChant.com joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking Florida State, but also ACC Media Days begins today. What are some of the big storylines that maybe you're expecting to get discussion, to be discussed, outside of just who's going to win the league, who has a chance to surprise in the league?
Yeah, I'm kind of interested. I'm not really sure what Phillips can say at this point when it comes to commissioner forums. Let's just hear it a little bit. Just concerned, of where he's with the other conferences. But I think something interesting that not a lot of people are talking about is the tiebreaker situation. Obviously last year you had Duke win the ACC, and you had Miami go to the national title game and didn't even play in your conference championship game. So I wonder if you see some change there so that situation doesn't happen again. So it'll kind of be interesting to see if that's a comment made this morning here in under an hour.
So do you anticipate him being asked about the pressure he's under?
I don't know. That'd be interesting, right? It'd be kind of funny. He's kind of avoided those questions before. I feel like it's dodged, because there is there's a time clock on the conference at this point. Not on the conference as a whole, but you're going to lose Florida State, Clemson, your big brands soon now that they have that easy avenue out. But it'll be interesting. If it's anything like Big 12 Media Days and that Sorsby question, anything can happen.
Matt, we appreciate the time, man. Great stuff. Great insight to Florida State, to ACC Media Days, what it may look like this upcoming season and over the next few days. We'll catch up with you soon. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man, for having me on.
There you go. Matt LaSarre of WarChant.com joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking a little Florida State. Listen, Greg, we can have some fun with it. There are multiple ways to look at this, but you go look at Braden Jordan, you go look at Xavier Chaplin, you look at Quintravian Wisner, Ashton Daniels. These are guys that have had some ups and had some downs. But one thing they have in common, they've all played a lot of college football. If you can get them going a little bit, when we've seen them be at or near their best consistently, can they really surprise some people this year?
Yeah, I do. I think there's actually pretty good personnel offensively. I like their offensive identity. I love Mike Norvell as a play caller. I think he's amazing. I think they're going to be a bit of a problem for some folks. I do wonder a little bit about some of the personnel on defense. I think that's a fair concern. That's a fair reason to be skeptical, but the offense should be able to score. I'm not convinced that the offensive line is going to be elite. It hasn't been in a really long time. I don't even think in the 2023 season when they were 12-0, it was an elite group. 13-0, excuse me. So, no, I don't know if that group's going to be great, but they have the skill. And if you have skill and you have weaponry, you can make people sweat. So, yeah, I think Florida State's going to be a little bit tricky to play against. I'm not sure that they're necessarily like a playoff contender, but they're going to be a giant killer, I think, throughout the season.
I just think Ashton Daniels brings you a decent amount. I think he's sturdy. He's solid. I think he understands what he's capable of. I don't think he tries to force a lot of things. The mobility is good, not great. He's a little bit more of a north-south runner, but I feel like he has a good idea when to just tuck and go. I don't think he goes too far in trying to keep plays alive. A lot of this depends on what they ask of him in the passing game. I do think he has limitations there, but if you can design something I think about, they're going to run stretch play. Norvell's run it that's part of what they do. They're a big gap scheme team as well. But you think about Wisner, on outside zone and what Daniels is able to do off of that on some boots and some play actions and things like those two are almost great fits for that. And then you think about Wisner, some of the patience, getting to the perimeter like on a counter, being able to make a cut off a puller, get north and south, or be able to bounce if that defender plays underneath. Like they've got some guys that fit what they do well. And we don't often see that. We often see, oh, this is a super talent that's just going to go play there. Let's see how it works out. We don't really know. But when you dive into sort of how they want to do some things, the talent that's coming in and what they're capable of, it could be a really nice fit for. But like you said, what's the offense going to look like? How different is it going to be? That's why I asked the question of what's going to be asked of Ashton Daniels. Do they need him to be a Castellanos running the football? Do they want him to be that running the football? How much is it going to be down the field? Like we saw with Brady White at Memphis. Like I don't think he can be that guy down the field. So it's going to be interesting how they call it and how they design it, but they do have some guys that feel like they could be good fits for what we've seen it be before.
Yeah, and I like you said, I think they made a mistake 2 years ago in trying to go with a more statuesque quarterback with Uiagalelei. It didn't work out. Last year they went with the guy that was extremely boomer bust in Thomas Castellanos. Now I do think Ashton Daniels provides you a certain veteran presence, a certain level of maturity.
Yep.
That's not going to – yes, the ceiling might not be there as much as it was with Castellanos. Castellanos, when you caught him on the wrong day, we told you that for years. Like, this guy's a huge problem if you catch him on the wrong day. But you catch him on the right day, he'll throw you a couple balls and put it on the deck a couple times. So I'm pretty optimistic about Florida State, probably more so than others. Look, I think they're about a 7-win football team. 6-win football team. 7, maybe if the stars align, they pull an upset or two, they get to 8. I think the schedule's brutal. The schedule's very, very difficult. But if they can pull off a couple upsets, which is not unreasonable, and it can be done. The problem is they got to win a couple games on the road. They're 0-10 in their last 10 games away from Tallahassee. That's a problem. So they're going to have to fix that. If they can fix that, that'll go a long way in kind of getting things back on the right track.
All right, let's look at that Florida State schedule on the other side and just maybe what could be done, what's possible, feasible in it next on Jocks.
Jocks 94.5 is live on YouTube every weekday, plus video shorts and podcasts. Find us at Jocks 94.5 and smash the subscribe and like button so you never miss a moment. Jocks 94.5 on YouTube.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Talk a little ACC Media Days. We'll do it more with Taylor Tannenbaum at the top of the hour. Florida State schedule. We'll dive into a couple of ACC schedules today. A lot of those are going to include SEC teams, some multiple SEC teams. What could Florida State possibly be? What could they possibly do? We just went through a couple of guys on the roster that make it look like there's a way that they are ahead of where some people believe. I feel like they're almost just being completely left out, like just pushed to the side and, hey, we don't know, we don't care. Very doubtful that they even surprise people. We'll see. If you need a surprise in your life, maybe a new home for your loved one. Maybe you're looking for a new home for getting married, a special event coming up in your life. The Gusty Goulas Group can help. Why? Well, they serve more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. All you got to do is go to gustygoulasgroup.com. You'll see a button at the top right-hand corner of your page. If you want to get rid of your home, it might surprise you the price that you can get. That's what they're going to tell you with very little information. Call 205-542-1996 today, or just Google Gusty Goulas Group. You're going to see over 850 5-star Google reviews. Gusty is investing thousands of dollars into the latest tools to do everything he can to get your home sold or to get you into a new home. And by serving all those home buyers in this area, they're going to know the market and what's becoming available. 205-542-1996 or go to gustygoulasgroup.com and start packing. All right, G-Mac, it is a treacherous schedule. It is one that you don't look at and say, oh, well, they might not be a great team or a much better football team, but because of the schedule, they're going to be able to find their way. New Mexico State, you got SMU week 2 at home, Labor Day, Monday night, I guess week 1 technically, because they'll go week 0 against New Mexico State. That's a massive matchup out of the gate. Now, the advantage is Monday night at home. We've seen that place actually on that date be great. Like, Doak's going to be rocking for that game.
For sure.
And going to probably need it because it's Kevin Jennings' company going to bring an explosive offense to the table.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the more intriguing week 1 games. I think Kevin Jennings is great, obviously. SMU's got a lot of dudes. I would give SMU the advantage as far as some talent is concerned in some spots. There are some question marks about SMU's defense, but all in all, I mean, I lean SMU there on a neutral field for sure. I just think it's going to be a lot about starting fast for SMU. And look, week 1's tricky. You're trying to figure out who you are. You're trying to figure out what you got. There's a lot of new. Doing it on the road and trying to solve that riddle is not easy. Look at what Alabama did last year in Doak in week 1. It's not because Florida State was a way better team, way more talented team or whatnot. It's just trying to solve issues on the road in week 1 is much, much more difficult. You'd prefer a neutral site. You prefer a home game to try to kind of iron out some of the issues and some of the challenges. So, yeah, I mean, if Florida State won that game, I would not be surprised at all. Yeah,
Alabama just couldn't find answers fast enough.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one thing that you need to do early in the season, and you haven't had to do it a lot in that year, so it makes it tough. They'll take a week off before that trip to Alabama. They'll be in Tuscaloosa, Central Arkansas, Virginia at home, at Louisville, then at Miami in back-to-back weeks, a week off, and then Clemson at Boston College on November the 7th, at Pitt on November the 13th, NC State and Florida. I mean, it's outside of the Central Arkansas, New Mexico State games, Greg, which ones do you look at and say, I feel super confident that's a Florida State win?
Goodness.
Not many.
Not a ton. They got a lot of coin flips. A lot.
There's a few on there for sure that could go this way, could go that way.
No question.
I don't feel great about it. I'm going to be honest with you.
Really?
But the part of what, as you brought up with the coin flips, how big a step back does Virginia take this year? Is Clemson back? You get it at home. And some of these too, Greg, will depend. Where's Louisville? Where's Miami? Mid-October. You got to go to both of those places.
Right.
How much of a road advantage are you getting there? Now, I don't like the fact that you are at BC and at Pitt in November. Just bottom line, going to say it right out. I don't feel great about it.
You don't like BC.
I don't ever like Florida teams going to those spots in November. I'm just going to say that.
Fair enough.
Never feels great about it. So out of the gate, you look at it and say, all right, can you match the physicality BC is going to bring, and you got to play up there in November. You get that thing in the 40s or the 30s or snow or sleet, and it's just all of a sudden don't feel great about it.
Understandable.
Same thing with Pitt the next week. Of course, Florida will probably depend on each. You get it at Doak, which is great. I'm almost getting a little bit of the Auburn schedule vibe that you brought up yesterday. How much can you use your home field to your advantage and take care of business at home? If you did that for the most part, Clemson, NC State, Florida, you could make a lot of fans happy, SMU, if you got most or all of your home games. Like you could build a lot of equity by probably being a one-loss football team at home.
Probably. I think if you can just take care of business at home, that's great. But I also think that's no guarantee.
It's also
either.
SMU, Clemson, Florida.
I'd say you have three really good teams that are coming to your place that are. It's hard to feel great about it. It is. I mean, the schedule's a beast, dude. I'm not gonna try to sit here and say it's not. I think the schedule is one of the tougher schedules in the ACC. So they're gonna have to really play well to get to 7 wins. I think they can. I think they have the personnel to do it. You also draw Bama and Florida in the non-con. That's asking a lot with a 9-game conference schedule. So there's not a lot of gimmies, not a lot of layups, but I would not be that surprised if they knocked off a couple teams this year that you're not expecting them to knock off.
Well, when you get to that spot that they're in and you have some must wins and you're coaching with a little bit of desperation, that usually goes one of two ways. You either see somewhat of a towel thrown in, or you see everything pushed to the middle of the table. You try new things. I don't even want to call it tricky, but you're willing to be a little bit more flexible. You're willing to take a few more risks. That might mean more pressures on defense. That might mean more shot plays on offense, and those can end up going your way. And then all of a sudden you build a little bit of momentum, things start to happen. So how quickly can you build some momentum? I don't want to say good faith. How quickly can you build, let's say, some belief in your football team when you have SMU and Alabama in 2 of your first 3 games of the year? one of those on the road. Like, that's the thing to me, Greg, is not just how hard the schedule is, but if this team's going to surprise people, you need confidence. You need belief. I feel like that's what they had a couple of years ago in that undefeated regular season, is just you had a couple of guys, but you had a wide receiver. It's like you're going to throw a dig or a crosser, like just lob it up there. He's going to go get it.
Yeah.
Like you had defensive ends that if it was 3rd and 8, they were going to get to the quarterback. Like it's just you could lean on, but you had that confidence. You had that belief that was going to happen. It doesn't feel like there's a portion of the schedule that's going to allow them to build that. That's going to be tough because where do you find it then? And with new players at key positions, tackle, quarterback, linebacker, you got to find that quick. And I don't know how they're going to do it.
I'm kind of with you. I mean, I think it's going to be very tough to try to kind of figure that out.
It's going to be a fun watch, though, because they do have some talent. They do have some guys. Like, I love Wisner. I
think he's a good back.
Couldn't believe when Texas let him go. Now,
not a ton of juice.
No, but he's
solid.
Great feel, great hands out of the backfield. And for, like we said, for some of the stuff they're going to run, I think he's a great fit. We have fun with the Chaplin situation, but there are good reps in there at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I mean, he's played football. Like,
a lot of
he's played.
Braden Joyner played a lot of football.
There's a lot of people I'd rather have him over a lot of people that haven't played.
It's totally fair. And you got a big-time weapon on the perimeter that can be a bit of a takeover guy that you can kind of lean on, and maybe that's where some of the confidence comes from. And just Ashton Daniels having played, bringing a calm to the huddle, maybe helping be a little bit more of a dual threat, the offense being a little bit more balanced than it has been, or at least attempting to be more balanced, presenting different things to the defense. It's hard for me to find it, but it could be in there that they surprised some people this year. So much of this, where do the other teams go? Is SMU what we're making them out to be? Virginia going backwards, Clemson staying or going forward? Where's NC State this year? Where's Pitt this year? There's just, like you said, there's a lot of coin flips. Hell, just in the ACC, not just on the schedule.
Tons. That's because in the ACC, you look at Team 1. All right, we know what Team 1 is. That's Miami. Team 2 through 10. Give me the order.
I don't want to.
In all seriousness, like, you could make a case for SMU. You can make a case for Louisville. You can make a case for Virginia. You can make a case for Virginia Tech. You can make a case for Florida State. You can make a case for NC State because of their schedule, which is very gettable. Like, you kind of go down the list, dude. The gap between 2 through 10 and the ACC is insanely small.
Didn't mention Georgia Tech. Didn't mention Cal. Teams I think have a chance to be better than people are referencing right now as well. We'll talk more ACC Media Days with Taylor Tannenbaum next right here on Jocks.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.
Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
Jeff Jarrett, great to see you.
In this business, the story behind the scenes, so much more entertaining than what you see on camera.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman.
Mr. Heyman, you are a master at the little things. That's how you turn good into great.
What does it take to achieve greatness? Whatever it takes, I'm willing to do.
That's an Emmy-winning performance.
How about it?
Insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
I'm your host, Megan Klingenberg. One thing I promised you is an all-access pass that you wouldn't get on any other show. And we found out that whoever comes on scores a goal. Burhoff, Freeman, Trusty. U.S. Soccer Podcast magic is real, people. We still got plenty of coverage all throughout this World Cup. Okay, let's get into it.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henkel. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
Mr. Sandman, all I ever wanted to be was a pro wrestler. So I got to live my life and make people really happy.
The Heartbreak Kid himself, Shawn Michaels.
Do you think there's anybody better than you were?
I think I was great at what I did, and I think other people were great at what they did as well. Greatness is more a mindset, I think, than anything else.
Mindset, motivation, insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.